There's an echo in the canyon, a reflection on the sound. When I'm really looking, I can hear you all around.
Welcome, Sláinte. Come on in, it's the art of poetry. I'm so glad you're joining us because we are a dream team and you'll see who we are. I am Francis Edward Crowley and I'm feeling my Irish roots today. I'd like to open with a wonderful Irish flavored meditation, but it's really a poem. This gentleman, who is, I think, an authentic, besides a Roman Catholic priest, a very authentic shaman for the Irish culture. And that goes back to the Druids. So, I'm about to get excited because this is show number 57. And if you add that to 43 previous shows on poetry of immigrants, whoa, we may be buzzing number 100 after 8 years. No stopping now. For solitude. May you recognize in your life the presence, power, and light of your soul. May you realize that you are never alone, that your soul and its brightness and belonging connects you intimately with the rhythm of the universe. May you have respect for your individuality and difference. May you realize that the shape of your soul is unique, that you have a special destiny here, that behind the facade of your life, there is something beautiful and eternal happening. May you learn to see yourself with the same delight, pride, and expectation with which God sees you in every moment. And to introduce Victor Urbanowicz in the proper way, I wanted to pull up an email I sent him on January 2nd of this year. And by the way, happy birthday to Abraham Lincoln. Today is the very day, February 12th. I wrote this a month ago. I myself have undergone during the past decade, especially the essential transit from callow, feckless, footloose fellow to caring, responsible, albeit romantic adult. To wit, Victor, your nuanced, super condensed, highly entertaining nugget of religious history of gold raises the moral question in maturational human development of how we are successful or not. From then to now, we're not Harry Potters. Yet those, quote, magical myths and archetypes have truthful structures for guidance, and that is essential in the Irish literary culture. So, it seems to me, what do you think? We're at a stage, Victor, you and I, where we can reflect back on progress, changes we were instrumental in, giving back generally. And also, I leave you with a question. What do you think, Victor, More importantly, what do you feel about the progress we've made? That is our 60 to 64 Fairfield University brethren. Let that hang in the air. Dear Victor, it's your show and you're supremely qualified. Thank you for all you do. It's a wonderful, wonderful show that you get together with solid research. And here we go for the next hour.
Yes. Well, thank you for starting off with John O'Donohue. He is indeed a poet in the Irish tradition. He was a priest. His bishop told him he had to choose between being a poet and being a priest. He said, well, what a very sad choice, but he decided to go with the more ancient bardic tradition of Ireland and became an inactive priest and an active poet, although still a Catholic. So on that note, I'd like to, any comments, Frank?
I think we're mute from now on.
Okay.
It's your show, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of Catholicism, I'm going to start with The Last Abbot of Gloucester by Wilfred Rowland Child. It's a short 4-stanza poem. It has a place in my personal history because I met a woman in 1964 who used to love the first stanza, but couldn't tell who wrote it or the rest of the poem. I decided to marry her anyway, and that was a good decision. But the first stanza begins, it was written in 1917, by the way. The Middle Ages sleep in alabaster, a delicate fine sleep they never knew, the irreparable hell of that disaster that broke with hammers heaven's fragile blue. Now, what on earth is that about? Hammers and heaven's blue. How is that broken? Okay, I've provided a hint, a picture of a geologist's hammer. Will we see that, please? The writer, thank you, is referring to the geology of the late 18th and 19th centuries, which concluded that the shapes, the forms, the rocks in the earth took millions of years to form, a timeline much older provided than that of Genesis, and though it shattered the medieval worldview of a much younger universe. Now, this is old news by 1917 when the poem was published, but apparently the poet is still angry about it. And by the way, the title is The Last Abbot of Gloucester, and he hasn't come into the poem yet. Well, he comes in the second stanza. Yea, crowned and robed, and silent he abides, last of the Romans, and that ivory calm beneath whose wings august the minster sides trembled like virgins to the perfect psalm. Wow. And that is the tomb effigy of the Abbot of Gloucester, the last abbot, who died in 1539. Lucky for him, because in 1540 came the dissolution of all the Catholic monasteries by King Henry VIII, who said they were corrupt and must be disbanded. They were also rather wealthy, and he needed the money. So, and as you see, he wears a kind of crown, looking somewhat like a bishop's mitre, and some sort of ritual robe. And he is that last also of the ivory calm that flaps above the abbey with august wings. That is a very Baroque image, is it not? Similar like some of the things that Dryden does. And since this is a Catholic poet who is writing, that is appropriate, though it is really hard to imagine that particular thing. And I think the last two lines are easier to imagine. The minster sides trembled like virgins to the perfect psalm. Imagine that. Pure, pious young woman thrilling to the sound of sacred music. So, interesting writing. Fluent, skillful, masters the rhyme scheme fairly well. And he continues, yea, it is gone with him, yea, it returns not. The gilt, proud sanctuaries are dust. The high steam of the violet, fragrant frankincense burns not. All gone. It was too beautiful to die. Now let's review some of the imagery. If you had to buy the vehicles of all these metaphors, you'd spend a lot of money. Alabaster is a semi-precious stone who is pretty and pink and soft and easy to work and good to make images with, statues and such. There is the ivory column, that's also expensive too. And then the gilt proud sanctuaries, so the sanctuaries are often decorated with gold leaf, and frankincense is the most expensive kind of incense. This poet does not apologize for the expense of the abbey, even though Henry VIII coveted the money and said they were so rich because they were corrupt. He apparently seems to feel that the true faith is worth every penny spent on it. Okay. And finally, the last stanza, remember, the previous stanza begins, all gone, it was too beautiful to die. The final stanza begins, it was too beautiful to live. The world ne'er rotted it with her slow creeping hells. Men shall not see the vision crowned and pearled when Jerusalem blossomed in the noontide bells. Now, I admire that transition. It's almost like a dramatic monologue. The poet contradicts himself. Not too beautiful to die, too beautiful to live, too good for this lousy world, right? Any comments on the quality of the last stanza? I open it to discussion.
Oh, it's brilliant. And, you know, a perfect crafted peroration to a speech almost. I'm loving that you're reading with such reverence because the imagery deserves reverence. Oh, Victor, good choice. Yes, it's impenetrable on first reading, and our viewers at home are so grateful to you for taking it piece by piece, gorgeous image by gorgeous image, and I could almost feel the marble, if that makes sense. The soft Carrara marble, maybe? I don't know, it's in there. I happened to catch last night a wonderful special on a Tuscan town in Italy where all the marbles were taken from, especially for Michelangelo's Pietà. Oh, that marble. Don't you want to hug it? Oh, sorry. I go from tree hugger to marble hugger. Anyway,
Hope you're hugging it on a warm day. That stuff is cold.
ain't it though? And you know, the the types of marble are fascinating to me. Made me think ahead. Well, what about Michelangelo's David? You know, which is so imposing, so huge. Oh my goodness! It's just the most beautiful thing to see in person, which I did, and I walked around him, and the marble looked like it was perfect. Those Romans.
Well, I'd like to say, first of all, I can see why you're thinking about marble because of all the imagery in the poem. There is no marble in this poem. And I say there's a lot that's skillful in this poem. And he was he was undergraduate at Magdalen College in Oxford when he wrote it. So it's remarkable for how talented he was so young. The very, very disciplined form. He achieves it well. I have to disagree with you about the last stanza, though. Well, it begins very well, and there's much to admire about the technique of the poem. The world ne'er rotted it with her slow creeping hells. What on earth is he talking about? Hells? He's already used hell. He's kind of wearing it out, isn't he? And it's just an invective, and it shows he's in a bad mood, but doesn't produce an image. He's probably just referring to the secularizing intellectual atmosphere of the Western world.
I think you're
And then
absolutely right.
the vision crowned and pearled. Okay, there's more expensive imagery, but exactly what is the vision? And he recovers a bit, I would say, when Jerusalem blossomed in the noontide bells. This is the conventional Christian belief, Catholic and otherwise, that the Jewish religion is fulfilled in Christianity.
Wow.
As a liberal believer, I find that annoying. If I were a Jew, I would find it downright offensive, but there was no ecumenical movement at his time. He was basically seeing it as a rather sectarian Catholic. And his stance, he had a good chance to make a case to condemn the dissolution of the monasteries, but his whole defense of them is aesthetic. What about all the holiness and praying and fasting and self-denial that went on? What about all the care for the poor? The monasteries provided employment and they provided relief to the poor. When Henry VIII wrecked them, Thomas Cromwell had to set up a government agency to help the poor because there was a big gap. So from that historical point, I can see why this is a celebrated minor poem, but why it's not a major one. He missed a chance. He cannot say that the Anglican religion does not have beautiful liturgy and ceremonies. They do very well with that.
Yes, they
And
do,
that-
Victor. Very, very, very well. Smoky Marys, it's just so aromatic. But you know, read that last stanza again because I want to emphasize creeping hell.
Yes, what does he mean by that?
Well, it brought back a very, a wonderful image at the end of Yeats, crawling toward Bethlehem.
Oh, right, the second coming, yes.
Oh my goodness, that is indelibly imprinted on the heart when you visualize that. I'm more abstract, random, and you are linear sequential in the best way.
Okay.
But a
The
creeping,
thing is, in the Yeats poem, what rough beast its hour come round at last, etc. Lion body and the head of a man, a gaze blank and pitiless as the sun is moving its slow thighs, while all about real shadows of the indignant desert birds. That is a very vivid image.
I guess you nailed it. That's a
Some horrid sphinx, walking around, and the startled birds are, oh, what's this?
What a horrible image, and definitely to put the fear of God in you. Wonderful recitation. I mean, you know this stuff by heart, don't you? It's so impressive.
Yeah, if I have to lecture on something, I end up knowing it by heart. And I'm glad you mentioned Yeats.
Yes,
Let's go on to the bunny poem.
Let's go. What rough beast lumbers
Yeah.
toward Bethlehem? Oh, that's
Right.
got power, man.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody look up The Second Coming by William Butler Yeats, one of the most massively quoted poems in the English language. Could we get the first stanza of The Collarbone of a Hare? I really worked on this one. I hope Emily recognizes what I see. Let's see well, my handwritten notes have disappeared.
Well,
Anyway.
more than that, you had your teeth into this bone and you wouldn't let go for the last 6 months. You were into this hair bone yourself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we couldn't do it on the Yates show, but I'm finally dragging it in.
Yeah.
Now, this is a bit shorter than the child poem, written about the same year. And it's called The Collarbone of a Hare. Imagine that.
Imagine.
And it goes, would I could cast a sail on the water where many a king has gone and many a king's daughter, and alight at the comely trees and the lawn, the playing upon pipes and the dancing, and learn that the best thing is to change my loves while dancing and pay but a kiss for a kiss. So here he is. Who's this persona? This also was around 1917. Yeats was well over 50 years old, and he still wants to play the field romantically, or maybe his persona is anyway. What's going on here? What's all this stuff about many a king and many a king's daughter? Does that put it into an ethnic or national context?
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. Around 1960, I was at a mixer where they bussed in some ladies from a female Catholic college, and I was dancing with a young girl who told me brightly, my people were kings and queens in Ireland. And that is part of the Irish self-image. They are all sons and daughters of kings and queens. So what Yeats is doing is putting this in a traditional Irish context. That's why the kings and king's daughter are there. And he goes on, and the light at the comely trees and the lawn, the playing upon pipes and the dancing, and learn that the best thing is to change my loves while dancing and pay but a kiss for a kiss. Which makes me want to ask, oh, who hurt you, buddy? But notice there's a narrative movement to the poem. Okay? He goes on. I would find by the edge of that water the collarbone of a hare worn thin by the lapping of water, and pierce it through with a gimlet and stare at the old bitter world where they marry in churches, and laugh over the untroubled water at all who marry in churches through the white thin bone of a hare. Oh, this is strange stuff, isn't it? What is this about looking through a hole in a bone? Well, that too is very Irish. If you take the bone from a hare, and the collarbone is broad and thin, so it's easy to punch a hole through, and look through it, you can see into fairyland. I'm going to try that this spring. Okay, so is that what he's doing? Is he looking into fairyland? It seems to me not exactly, because what he's looking at is the old bitter world where they marry in churches. Fairyland is heathen. The fairies don't like Christianity. It's intruded upon their territory. There are folk tales about a man who talks about fairies and mentions Sunday, the holy day of Christianity, and the fairies are offended by this and do him a little mischief. So he's not looking from the Christian world into the fairy world, rather he's looking from the heathen world, the domain of fairies and others, into the Christian world. The interesting thing is, does it or does not reflect his personal life? Here, poems written around 1917. Yeats was born in 1865. He's well over 50 years old. And 1917 is the year he married an English woman named Georgie. But he didn't marry her in a church. He married her in a registry office in Harrow, England. Who did get married in a church was his lost love, Maud Gunn, who married Major John McBride about, more than a dozen years before. And he's over her, more or less over her by that time. So, and that marriage ended up bitterly too. He may have been referring to that. So, this is very clever manipulation of Irish folklore and folk belief. And if you understand it, you can understand the poem quite well. And when I came across that explication, I thought this was rather clever. By the way, I also regard it as a more successful poem than The Last Abbot of Gloucester, which, as you say, has its own merits. Why is Wilfred Rowland Child, did I mention this, so angry in 1917? Well, in 1916, he was born in Wakefield, Northern England. He was born, yes, right. In the 1890s. And in 1916, he converted to the Catholic religion and got a totally different perspective on Anglicanism. Learned a bit more about perhaps what King Henry had done. So he had the indignation of someone freshly converted, and that's probably what drives the feeling of the poem.
By the way, Fairyland has a way of penetrating the membranes of the rational and coming through with such energy and such power that it really displaced the entire Catholic religion in Ireland, I believe, to the left, so to speak. The little people. Here's to the little people. And you know, they somehow signal the creative imagination within the Irish culture. I have been to Coole Park, Coole. Magnificent. I felt surrounded by the fairies and easily could imagine creatively sprites and spirits all around the land. What a beautiful, beautiful tower. A very particular square, heavy-set tower. I don't know its origins, but in Ireland, there's such a thing as the Martello Tower. Those are the watchtowers that are up and down the coast. at certain demarcations. But Cool Park features this wonderful squat 4-story tower, which Yeats has his own property and retreat, and he retreated there. It's as cold as a castle, obviously, and damp and miserable generally to live within, but it certainly has the inspiration. Oh, just to be in there. And I didn't enter because I start coughing my head off with all kinds of sinus issues. But I went into the house adjacent, that is a separate freestanding building, and I got the flavor of a lot of the years that Yeats enjoyed there. Victor, do you know any origin stories or any anecdotes about Cool Park and what significance it had in Yeats' life?
Well, a few things. Now, that was was that the estate of Lady Augusta Gregory?
Yeah.
Right. And her son, Major Robert Gregory. He and Yeats did not get along well. I don't know if I should tell the story, but he had to tell Yeats, lay off our wine cellar. And you shouldn't have the best bedroom anymore either. So, but and then he wrote An Irish Airman Foresees His Death. And Lady Augusta, this was after Robert Gregory died in World War I. A plane just had engine failure and crashed while he was moving it from one place to another. Wasn't even a death in battle. And the Irish Airman Foresees His Death says, the speaker just says, oh, I don't care about the war. I just thought this would be a fun way to live and die. I think we talked about that on the Yeats program. So he was, he was a guest, but the mistress of the place, Lady Augusta, liked him a lot better than her son did. She was offended by the Irish Airman Foresees His Death poem, but he wrote a very fine, skillful poem in memory of Major Robert Gregory to sort of reconcile her, okay? Mm-hmm. And placate her, I should say. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Cool Park was right. And that's where he saw that's where he saw the 9 and 50 swans.
The swans of Cool Park. The swans of Cool Park. They were there, but I didn't see them. I was on a road trip in the most delightful way, spring of, oh my goodness, no, it was fall of '93. I was on full year sabbatical, half pay, wandering from pillar to post, meaning the pillar of literary sites and the post of the most famous literary icon of that culture. Germany, France, Ireland, England, Chaucer, ha ha. Wander Aprilia with his sure suta, the Dracht of March has pierced to the ruta.
Yeah.
Makes me think of ancient Irish, the Druids, and the Celtic language. Have you had any experience, Victor, with Gaelic as spoken and written in Ireland?
1989, we spent a week touring Ireland. It was a wonderfully casual time. We just rented a car, made no advance reservations, cruised from one town to another, looked for a B&B sign. They usually had vacancies.
Yeah.
I sort of enjoyed the little bit of black pudding that English and Irish B&Bs like to serve.
Yeah.
I don't know why they stored the toast in a way that made it cold, but other than that, so that was quite pleasant. And we did tune into a radio station that was being broadcast in Gaelic, and also a TV show in a restaurant. TV was up on the wall, and there they were chattering away in the old tongue, and I was trying to cash some money in a line at a bank. I heard an older woman speaking in Gaelic as well, and I understand the language is making a revival.
Yeah.
They thought it would die out, and no, the Irish are getting more nationalistic, and they're working at restoring their heritage.
And Gaelic is in the ascendant again. How wonderful, because it is an ancient language, isn't it not?
Right, and one of the Indo-European languages that we always think of the Romance and Germanic languages, but Gaelic is another category and quite different. It shows lots of influence of Latin because of the first the Roman and then the Catholic missionary presence. Like 100,000 welcomes is Céad Míle Fáilte, right?
Yeah.
So CEAD from Kentum, and Mille is almost right out of Latin, 1,000. But then the Celts were probably more cosmopolitan than the Anglo-Saxons, so more open to other influences.
Wonderful point. Wonderful, wonderful point. More cosmopolitan, and probably to this very day, more culturally imaginative. It's part of the DNA, no question about it. As my dear grandson, who's now 27, says, well, where did we come from? And I said, not the kings and queens of Ireland. We are long descendants of peat bog farmers, which is at the lowest of the social stratum. It kind of goes with my peasant DNA, and I'm so proud of it on both sides. Oh, Victor, aren't you tired yet? Aren't you tired yet? Don't you want to take a 3-minute break?
I think you do. Okay, sure.
Yeah, my mind doesn't work as fast and as quick and as accurately as yours, but I have recovered, Victor. I'm over the 7 weeks flu mystery bug. Oh, amen. I'm telling you.
Amen.
I'm so relieved. Oh, and I got my cerebral excitement back today, and you're a big part of that. So we'll take a 3-minute break, and the service announcements are really essential because we're civil society, we need each other, and we need to help each other with these. Victor, I'm enjoying myself as if I were at an Irish pub, and there's a toothless gentleman, not you, sitting next to me, and he said, Crowleys? Crowleys? Them's rebels.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jacobites, maybe, or what?
Oh, I don't know. Jack of something, or biting something. I'm sorry. It's Celtic.
Hi.
Oh, thank you, Emily. We're going to take a nice, sweet little 3-minute break. And boy, to our viewers, come back. Come back. The best is yet to come. Where's that from?
The Better Business Bureau is warning consumers about unlicensed and unverified online gambling sites. From 2022 to 2025, BBB received more than 10,000 complaints nationwide, including hundreds from Connecticut, about lost money, frozen accounts, and withdrawal problems. Remember, in Connecticut, only DraftKings, FanDuel, and Fanatics Sportsbook are licensed to operate. Using offshore or unlicensed sites is illegal, and you may have no way to recover your money if something goes wrong. Protect yourself. Verify before you play at bbb.org.
Oh, Victor, have you ever seen Riverdance #1 25 years ago, and Riverdance repeated, and it's a fundraiser for PBS. I was so thrilled to see it on PBS that I'm going to send my $8 a month in and get a DVD on Riverdance #2, which has just been produced. But imagine Riverdance has been around for a full 25 years. And we'll get very serious in a moment, but I wanted to say that part of Irish culture is it's really the strangest thing I've ever thought about. I can't do it, and you'd have to be like 18 and vital, virile, and really crazy with rhythm. It is the most a stunning thing I've ever seen, and yet no touching, no touching. So the question becomes, what about Irish culture that keeps the sexes separate always in every way? Well, it sounds like the Roman Catholic Church. It doesn't sound like the fairyland where all things are possible. I wanted to say that we have now 10 minutes, Victor, and wow, I think you're wound up. You could go for another hour with just Irish poetry alone. What was next on your agenda? I don't want to shortchange you.
Oh, we have 10 minutes left for the show.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we took a break. I think we should go right to honoring Abraham Lincoln.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I knew you wanted me to say that.
I
I
guess
suspected
we're a
it
team.
anyway.
We are a team, Victor, intuitively.
Yep. This was a prize-winning poem by Edwin Markham. and it was his comeback piece. Edwin Markham, encouraged by his wife, wrote poetry, and inspired by Millet's painting, he wrote one called The Man with the Hoe, and it was received to wild acclaim. And then, like the second novel, Phenomenon, he wrote a few more, and they were panned. They got raspberries. He's lost it, man. He's over. He's a one-hit wonder. Then there was a contest for the Lincoln dedication of the Lincoln Memorial in 1922. That's in Springfield, Illinois. And he came out on top among 250 entries. So it starts off, the third word is a puzzle, the Norn Mother, N-O-R-N. The Norns were basically Scandinavian, Norse goddesses, actually, and they're pretty much the equivalent of the Greek fates. They determine destiny. They guide the future. They're very powerful. So I'm going to dive right into it. It's called Lincoln, the Man of the People. It's long. I may get hoarse, but we don't have much time, so I'm going to move on. It begins. When the Norn mother saw the whirlwind hour greatening and darkening as it hurried on, she left the heaven of heroes and came down to make a man to meet the mortal need. She took the tried clay of the common road, clay warm yet with the genial heat of earth, dashed through it all the strain of prophecy, tempered the heap with thrill of human tears, then mixed a laughter with the serious stuff. Into the shape she breathed a flame to light that tender, tragic, ever-changing face, and laid on him a sense of the mystic powers moving, all hushed behind the mortal veil. Here was a man to hold against the world, a man to match the mountains and the sea. The color of the ground was in him, the red earth, the smack and tang of elemental things, the rectitude and patience of the cliff, the goodwill of the rain that loves all leaves, the friendly welcome of the wayside well, the courage of the bird that dares the sea, the gladness of the wind that shakes the corn, the pity of the snow that hides all scars, the secrecy of streams that make their way under the mountain to the rift in rock, the tolerance and equity of light that gives as freely to the shrinking flower as to the great oak flaring to the wind, to the grave's low hill as to the Matterhorn that shoulders out the sky. Sprung from the west, he drank the valorous youth of a new world. The strength of virgin forests braced his mind. The hush of spacious prairies stilled his soul. His words were oaks in acorns, and his thoughts were roots that firmly gripped the granite truth. Up from log cabin to the Capitol, one fire was on his spirit, one resolve to send the keen axe to the root of wrong, clearing a free way for the feet of God, the eyes of conscience testing every stroke to make his deed the measure of a man. He built the rail pile as he built the state, pouring his splendid strength through every blow. The grip that swung the axe in Illinois was on the pen that set a people free. So came the captain with the mighty heart, and when the judgment thunders split the house, wrenching the rafters from their ancient rest, he held the ridgepole up and spiked again the rafters of the home. He held his place, held the long purpose like a growing tree, held on through blame and faltered not at praise. And when he fell in whirlwind, he went down as a lordly cedar, green with boughs, goes down with a great shout upon the hills, and leaves a lonesome place against the sky.
Oh my goodness. This is such brilliance and such magnificent craft, because the tree imagery is carried consistently and continually through the poem. Oh, his words are oaks in acorns. Doesn't that just send chills up and down your spine? The beauty of that image is so essential to his gifts. Lincoln, the man of the word. And then he went down like a tree, a fully formed tree, chopped down. Oh my goodness, this poem is brilliantly crafted and so moving.
And he knows exactly when to stop.
Yes, yes.
And leaves a lonesome place against the sky.
Oh, and the imagery that combines and powerfully grows from the prairie, the rivers. I mean, it brings the anthems to mind, from sea to shining sea. And I lived in South Dakota for 7 to 8 years, and we kept going to those granite faces. Lincoln's is so, the word used in the poem, tragic. It's craggy. It's craggy like a mountainside, his own face, and especially as memorialized in art, but it's also tragic. Oh my goodness, it's
And such powerful blank verse. It's like Marlowe, really. The mighty line, you know? Yeah.
Wow, Marlowe, a reference to Christopher Marlowe. Oh yeah, who gave Shakespeare a run for his money. Oh, and they were rivals. Oh, but this poem, Victor, is just so, I'm so glad you succumbed to it.
Yeah, I remember because I'd read about Edwin Markham. I thought, okay, he wrote The Man with the Hoe. And then he continued writing flops. And then he was inspired once more by Lincoln, the Man of the People. And as I say, it was his comeback poem. And it's a good one to read on today. The usual poem for Lincoln is, of course, Whitman, "O Captain, My Captain." And nothing against that. But this is so different, takes such a different approach, identifies Lincoln with the land he came from and his history, not only as a lawyer, but as a rail splitter, you know, a virile Western pioneer.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And you know, Whitman does a good job. "Oh, Captain, My Captain," and those echoes are so heartfelt. The poet of feeling, Whitman, has a wonderful way to capture the emotional quality. This poem you've chosen is really so formal that it harkens back to not the 19th century, but more like the 18th century in its feeling that I assess. You've done really, really well with explication today. Explicación de text. Man, you are good. And I'll team up with you anytime, even on a comedy show.
oh yeah, well, I think you really enriched the discussion, no doubt about it. Thank you dragging yourself to the studio. I know you're not feeling well, but
But the strangest thing is, I trust synchronicity, and we've talked about that before, especially with Gemma, because she and I were so intuitively connected, very intuitive person. And she and I would kind of finish each other's thoughts and then finally express them. And it would be like, how did that happen? And you know, how did it happen that I recovered yesterday from 7 weeks of feeling so low that I could hardly get any enthusiasm for anything? It must have been my soup last night.
there we go.
It wasn't borscht.
Keep that recipe.
Oh, so Victor, let's answer that question that I posed at the beginning. What's next? What do we have to leave as our legacy, especially focusing on Fairfield University alums from class of 64, of which you and I are brethren and connected? And by the way, I want to celebrate friendship today. Not only solitude, which we opened, but I was looking for a book, a poem on friendship. This book has everything from for a leader to for citizenship to for the unknown self. How interesting. The whole book is for a nurse, one of my favorites, for marriage, for mother to be. I mean, that's his fabulous book here. But you and I and the rest of our little coterie of 8 Fairfield alum from the class of 64, what is our legacy? What change have we affected in the world, if any? And discounting the butterfly effect for the moment, what is it that, oh my gosh, if I turn 85, what will I be conscious of having made a difference? Well, you have today. You have done a yeoman's job, fabulous, fabulous work on these poems, and your delivery has made them come alive. So
Yeah.
we have
What
a
do we
le-
have to share? I have a thought.
Yes. Yes.
Some of the best and most powerful thing our language has to offer is in poetry, and we share that and we hold it up before the world. And I think we have carried on the tradition of bold, independent thought put forth by the Jesuits, often, often at their own risk.
Well said, brother. It is a
Yeah.
wrap. I don't know when I've enjoyed a duo more than this. And the quality of the show, Victor, is way over the top. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for all your persistence and dedication.
And our legacy is assured. The word, Lincoln's word, has endured.
Let's remind everybody, Edwin Markham, Lincoln, the man of the people.
The man of the people. His word has endured as a mighty oak within the acorn.
Yes.
Go Lincoln. Whoa.
If I'm gone tomorrow and you hear this song today, just remember there is love for you in every note I play. There's an echo in the canyon, a reflection on the sound. When I'm really looking, hear you